Let's talk herd. So, you know what you said about horses leaving their bodies? I felt that really strongly with a tree one time, an oak tree. And I felt like, oh, that makes sense that they do a lot of traveling. Would you say, have you heard that? Have you felt that with trees at all?
Wait, you felt the tree? The tree leaves its energy leaves its body? Wow. Wow. That makes sense. What I say, I've never felt that. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, it just felt like this tree was like so far away. And I was like, that's strange. And then it was like consciousness came back and it felt like, and that's how I kind of interpreted it. So when you said that about the horses, I thought, wow, maybe, maybe trees do that as well because they're very, obviously physically they have to be there. They can't move.
Well, you're just making sense of so much by bringing in the tree, because only humans think their form is dense and that we end at the end of our body, where the horses say, no, you're a field. You extend beyond your body and we meet you in that field.
Mm.
And when I saw a palmetto bug, which is like a very big roach, and I was like that to make sure I wasn't making it up. When I saw it change form twice, I understood what I've heard from geckos, from horses. Like if they fall out of a little bush, they leave their body and they hop right back in, so they don't get hurt.
Wow.
When they shapeshift, right? When a palmetto bug becomes a spider, and then it looks like a human. I know, it's crazy, playing a cello. And I'm like, no. So what the horses keep saying about being out of their bodies and being back in, I haven't gotten to the point where I can do that yet. And I would, please tell me if you do it.
Yeah, I so wanted to do that. I so wanted to learn that. Because some people do that, don't they? They can do that traveling. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to learn that. I really would.
Well, you know what a horse said recently? When you lie, can you hear voices? Do you hear conversations? Ever?
No.
Little snippets?
Oh, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what a horse just told me. That is our sign that we really can tap in. If you're just hearing little things that seem like junk, like dribble. But that's an indication that we are multisensory, and there's always someone on the other end. I just haven't figured out how to connect with the person on the other end. Yeah. So these are things the horses can help us become aware of, our own multidimensionality. And it's happening more and more and more now. They're incredible.
Yeah. And I love the way that I love what you're saying about how flexible we can be with our body, because that's really important. I think humans have got a real hang up about death and about being the end. And, we're so attached to this lifetime and we've got such pain around loss. And if we could just be a bit more awakened, a bit more able to understand that we're still there, it's just in a different form. And I think we'd be so much happier and we'd have such a much fuller life, because we wouldn't be holding on to people and to animals because we think we're going to lose them. And so what you say about the insects going in and out, I've often wondered about that. How did they look, because their life is just incredible, what they survive and what they go through, and it just makes a lot of sense that they've got this flexibility between what we would call life and death, but it's really just in and out of your body.
The stuff that the insects have shared, they really live an egoless existence. And people are writing to me. I posted something about fly consciousness the other day, about how flies were buzzing around, and this woman set the intention that the fly would land on her hand, and it did. Or they rescued some of the wasps out of the water, and then it came back to land on her shoulder and say thank you. And I just cry all the time because people are discovering how an animal will trust you. I do it all the time, when there's a roach here, and I'm like, don't worry, nobody will hurt you. And they crawl on the paper, and they will stay there until I carry them outside. The insects have said, as we treat them, so goes our evolution. Because the way we despise them because they're ugly, when we evolve beyond that, yeah, I know, humanity has a long way to go. I mean, the insects have said, use us, we can help you regenerate the planet. Our bodies turn into humus, but the scientists haven't figured out we do this. We would do this willingly. The billions upon billions of us use us to heal the planet. So hopefully science will figure out how to do that. Yeah, it's really beautiful.
It's such a powerful connection it really is with the insects. It's very, I remember, I don't know, about a month ago, I looked in the dog's water bowl outside, and there was just a tiny little, I don't know, it was like a speck. So I just kind of took it out of the water, and I realized it was a tiny spider, just a tiny little one. And I just blew on this little spider, and it just kind of came back to life. And it was just such a, I don't know, it's just touches you so deeply, and it's incredible the potential that's there, that we can. I do that all the time. I'm always like connecting with them and asking them, and when you start to watch them, they're just amazing. They're like so intelligent, and there's so much potential.
I keep telling people they will respond to your intention. Just watch.
They really do.
Just watch. Yeah. They will show you how quickly they trust you. It could be a gecko where you just say, good morning, and they'll stop in their tracks and they'll look at you and they'll just stay with you. Just for a human to pay attention means so much to them. They know that's the beginning, right? Notice when birds show up for you. And they,
I was just going to ask, what do the horses feel about how we are looking after the planet? And are they concerned about things like that outside of, the horse world?
I'm glad you asked, because, when I traveled my first book, and I just said, what do you want us to know? I'd say 75% of what they had to say was helping humans. They could have said anything. And it all begins, they know, with the individual and the thought maker, and what we focus on grows. Those spiritual concepts we've heard, because I love this one from Honeybee. Every thought matters because it affects matter.
Yeah.
And I've had lions and every other species echo about the noisemaker, and that horses allow, and they know that we humans are prisoners of the mind and our society's beliefs. They have so much compassion for us. So they don't say, well, humans did this. I mean, they can talk about the beauty that we brought to this planet, from flowers and sacred music and beautiful healing modalities. They always talk about this. But they know that healing begins on the inside, that it's one person at a time. So they're always inspiring us to love ourselves, to embrace exactly where we are now.
Yeah.
Not one of the biggest things so many of us suffer from is the striving, that addiction to doism. And horses are trying to tell us, even if you don't know how to meditate, just listen. um, and be with them the way they are with each other. So in telling them your dreams and being in silence, in work or do, and just sitting and being, just sharing space, feeling the energies like you do so much. They don't judge where humanity is, because as Honeybee said, they've already they visit other dimensions where they see how the new earth has manifested, the reparation of systems and breakages and light language. And so they say, so everything we see here on the 3D plane is just yesterday's news. I'm like, take me with you. So they know. They are... The beautiful thing is they can meet us wherever we're at.
Yeah. Yeah.
No matter how awake or how asleep, they can always get us back here.
Yeah. Yeah. Just engage. Yeah. I had this realization that
No, tell me.
Okay. Yeah.
So new to me.
Yeah, I just felt, well, it's not really something that I've thought recently, but how you kind of know that you come from a different place. Like, you're not human as such. You come from a different galaxy or a different world. And so I realized the other day that I feel my part of bringing in the new earth, like you say, it was so powerful, because I could sort of feel it as well as think it. It was like a feeling of, like, when life comes into something that's a bit dead, life coming into kind of woodenness or skin that's not warm. Or, and anyway, so it was like bringing this partnership where we and the horses would just be able to join up as one being. So, like, they would come and ask us to go on their back, and they would invite us. It wouldn't be because we wanted to, it would be because, or necessarily that they wanted to. It would be like a mutual, like, let's join. And I've called it came to me that it's just being one being. That's the name of it. And so I can't remember if I've told this before. Sorry if I've told this story before, but just very recently. So I've been practicing this with the herd, practicing being one being, just the vibration of that. And so this young mare I sat on her one time. So she's normally doing it traditionally with equipment and everything. And then the herd told me over time that they didn't want equipment. And so anyway, where we came to recently is that she will come and invite me to sit on her back. And that's amazing for me. But that was as far as we had got, because she would just feel like she was carrying this egg on her back, and she wanted to be really careful, and we didn't really know what to do. So then the other day, the last time she did it, we were just standing there. I was sitting on her, and I really tuned into what now? What now? What comes now? And that was when I got this realization of that we need to just be one being. It just came to me. I mean, it seems obvious, and I've thought it before, and I've felt it before, but this was it's a re-realization in a way. And as soon as I started to feel being one being, she just turned around. She completely galvanized, and she just became like super purposeful, which she's never been before, and just turned around and strode out of the barn and just started to stride up this really steep bank at the back. And this is, she doesn't have anything on her. She's 17 hands. She's an Oldenburg. She's very athletic. And I'm like... and she just kind of had this, I'm ready. And I just kind of just had this surge of feeling like I'm not. My mind just went, whoa, no, no, no. Let's put the brake on here. She's huge, you don't really, this is like going too fast. And so I kind of felt like, oh my God, you really let yourself down, because I just felt I'm not ready for this. This is fast. And so she stopped, she paused, and I just slid off her. I don't feel that she was disappointed in me, but she was a little bit,
That's why you have to close your eyes.
yeah.
You have to close your
Yeah.
eyes, because otherwise we buy into the separation of form.
Yeah.
My dog tells me that.
Yeah.
Close your
Oh my
eyes.
God, yeah.
You can communicate with me when you're far away, but up close it's so hard because you're buying into the illusion of separation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, I've had somebody tell me that he was setting the markers for an endurance race, which was 100 miles, and it became dark, and they were in the middle of nowhere, and he crossed his arms, and he closed his eyes, and he let the horse carry him all the way back, hours on horseback.
Yeah.
And that oneness, that total trust, right? So sometimes we have to close our eyes. Yeah. Oh, that's so beautiful.
Yeah. It's so close. It's so close. Yeah. Every time I go to the herd, now it just feels so, so close. It's just like so close. So it's not about the action. It's just about becoming that energy, really. So yeah, it's going to happen.
That's amazing. There are people that wish they had horses, that wish they had this kind of experience. And so, I asked horses, how can people partner with you? People that don't have horses, that don't get to live with them. And what, I gotta find it here, what he actually said was so amazing, that this is how you can partner with us. And it is a meditation for humans, to help humans get out of stuck thinking and open their hearts and love themselves and forgive themselves. So, wow. Again, when given the floor, they focus on human healing. What do they want?
Yeah.
Right? If you want to partner up with us, do this meditation every night, which of course I have in my notes. Here it is. So, to first send light to illuminate minds, and imagine in your mind's eye that it will continue through the night. Picture the unsticking of those who are stuck in old ideology and habitual ways of thinking. Next, see the hardness around people's hearts, born of fear, dissolving easily with only love remaining. And finally, picture people across the world feeling love for themselves, forgiving themselves, and going out into the world choosing their actions and making all choices from this place of inner security, peace, and compassion. This is how you can partner with us.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
One of the boarders, he was there for 2 months and left. So, wow, just, they are, I like to think that when we are at our best, maybe we can show up like that sometimes. It really is who we are inside, underneath the muck we're trying to release.
Yeah. So the other animals that you speak to, is there a difference between animals that are closer to humankind and the ones who are wild?
Absolutely. As I may have mentioned before, there are 3 species that do the heaviest energetic work on a large scale: horses, elephants, and whales, that are interdimensional, multidimensional. That the stuff that they do is so mind-blowing that I think it might be a bit much for most people, maybe not your listeners. The closer that an animal is to the human condition, the more likely they are to experience trauma and then have to heal from it. So when you are looking at cats and dogs and companion animals, I've even had, by the way, elephants talk about the plight of the horses. It is maybe it is the freedom that they stand for, the soul freedom that goes hand in hand with what we have done to them. We've also done to ourselves.
Wow.
And the planet, and we can go on and for that one. So there is indeed a difference in, if cats are partnered with humans in this life, they are here to help humans heal. Invariably, they show up with the same core wounds that we have. So in other words, it's not that they're taking something off of you. It's that the souls came together to share the same experience, whether that's an illness, anxiety, that guilt that people have. My animal took on my cancer. My dog was really emphatic about that. Drop that like it's hot. We're always looking for reasons to beat ourselves up, and that is not one of them. I have learned, I think I've heard from, I don't know, about 90 species now. So, knowing that each soul is on its path and they're all at different levels of awareness. The lessons that they are learning in a given form become, right, learning to run as a pack, or to be alone, or to be in a body that's 550 pounds, and when they remember being a butterfly in a previous life. That's tough if you remember it. So I've learned a lot about their journey, and especially if they have a short lifespan, like a year, they're born and they already know how to survive because they only have a year and a half. So their lessons are faster. And they really, as humans, we'd like to say, well, tortoises represent this. There's more to it than that. Do you know what I mean? Mm. I love animal totems and that whole thing, but when their consciousnesses keep coming through, it seems erroneous to just confine them to a one-sentence description of what that species represents, right?
Yeah.
When you watch squirrels and you learn that they are fearless and they are opportunistic and they are of the moment. And they've told me, they're in their society, the females take care of the babies and the males warn and protect, and they each find their own food. Mm. And yet in the bird world, you will see a male cardinal always feeding the female, even though the female feeds herself. So, you learn a lot by observation. And I think that's the most important message of all, to stop looking outside ourselves for what we believe and to experience what animals are here showing us and demonstrating. Especially when you see these odd friendships between, a bird and a cat. The animals that said, a blue jay said that these are intentional. We are trying to show you through our actions that you can love anyone, no matter how great the differences or how long the beliefs have been in place. Love wins. People say, oh, well, it was a pregnant animal and it was emitting oxytocin and that's why it took care of an animal it would normally eat. It's way bigger than that. You know that.
Yeah. And you can feel that when you see it. You can feel the size of it.